Okay, welcome to the last Masechta in Seder and Ezekiel. The Masechta is called Horayos. It's an interesting hakdama. Horayos literally means hayra. It means psaked in, But really, the Masechta deals primarily with shgagos, different types of carbon chatas. And just to reiterate, the carbon chatas of an individual, a regular Joe, is brought from a female, a kispa or a seira. That's what it's brought. If it's a nasi, it's a king. He brings a seir. He brings a seir. If we saw there's a carbon called oilavi ayred, depending upon a certain avera, tumas mikdash kadashav, shvuas pitoi, where you're going to go ahead and bring, depending upon your status, you'll bring a carbon chatas, either a sheep or birds or a silas. These are different type of chatas, but the one that we really have to know is vayikra dalid. There's a carbon bought by the tzibur, by the bezdin. If bezdin blows a psak, if bezdin blows it in a chiv kares. So in other words, let's say lahavdil bezdin would go ahead and paskin that chaylev is mutter, and the majority of Klal Yisrael acts upon that. So there's machloikas who brings it, whether it's a tzibur or bezdin, but you're going to bring a par. You're going to bring not a female, but you're going to bring a bull. In addition, that bull is different than any other carbon, with the exception of Yom Kippur, because you bring the blood in front of the paroiches, and you put the blood on the mizbeach hazav. You don't put the blood on the mizbeach achitzon. You put it on the mizbeach hapnimi, which is again this is when you say kabbanis every day, it was, as we all do. This is called a parim hanisrafim. These are the parim that are burnt because they're burnt chutz lamachne. The only thing you put on the mizbeach hachitzayna would be the shiari hadam, would be the leftover blood. So primarily we're going to deal with the par helen davishal tzibur. Okay, so the first Mishnah describes the following: Bezdin gives a psak, Bezdin gives a psak, and a person goes ahead and acts upon that psak. He goes ahead and he does an avera. Does he bring a carbon or not? Bezdin is only going to bring that carbon when it's roiv of the klal or roiv of the shvatim. In other words, you have a majority to blow it in order to go ahead and bring that carbon. So in a situation where you're acting upon their psak, the psak that's incorrect, and you act upon it, do you bring a carbon or not? Okay, so this is going to be a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim. It's not an easy masechta, guys, and the lashon is hard. It doesn't flow well. You got Rashis on both sides, and you got Tosfos. It seems that there's a big chilukei deos whether it's Rashi or not. There's chilukei deos whether it's Rashi or not, right? We don't know if it's Rashi. Primarily based upon Rav, who we mentioned yesterday, Rav Uwe Margolis. We mentioned Uwe Margolis yesterday. He was such an unbelievable bucky. On Daf Yud Beis, Rashi quotes a laz. You know, and Rashi goes ahead and he's quoting when Rashi's, he always ends up hiding. It's amazing. It's not your fault, right? I know you aren't. Okay, you're good. Rashi quotes a laz. You know, when Rashi quotes a laz, which language does he quote it in? French. Rashi on your base quotes Latin. We never have Rashi quoting Latin. So he wants to tell you that it's not Rashi. He wants to tell you it's not Rashi. For me, I don't know. It's long. It's not an easy masechta. But again, it's harder in the beginning, and as it goes along, it eases up a little bit. But bear with me. I have a very good chart. I don't think we're going to get to it tonight. I think because by the time we get to it, you're going to be very tired. So you know, it's the type of thing where, you know, I know there's a certain point in share where you feel it like winding down, and you feel like that, you know, and I'm very aware of that because I feel that way too. So we shall begin. We're learning for a Fur Shalema for Elimelech Zev ben Rachel, for Hadassah Bela Bas from Rachel, and for Yonas and David ben Devoira Rachel. Yonas and David ben Devoira Rachel. That's the Rashiv of Chaim Berlin, Rav David, Yonas and David. It's interesting. His name is Yonas and David David. You didn't know that. Now you do. Okay. Says the Mishnah. Hayra Bezdin La'avar al achas mikol mitzvos amuras b'Torah. Bezdin goes ahead and they paskin on one of the mitzvahs of the Torah. And guys, it has to be a mitzvah that has a chi of chorus if you do it. It has to be achilas chelev, achilas dam. It has to be what? A chi of chorus, one of the 36 ways of chorus. V'holach hayochid, and an individual goes, v'asa shoygeg al pihem. And he goes ahead, and based upon this, he does the Aveira. Based upon this, he does the Aveira. Bein she'asu v'asu imahem, whether they Bezdin act upon the psak, with him, they act upon the psak with him. Bein she'asu, whether they act first, v'asu achreihem, and he acts afterwards. So the first one doing it simultaneously, the second one he's doing it after Bezdin, and the third possibility is bein she'lo they don't do it at all, the asur, and he does it. Okay, and in that case, potter. You're going to be potter. This is the das of Rabbi Yehuda, fellas. I'm pointing it out now because the Gemara is going to have charata. The Gemara is going to have charata. It's going to say yechayev. Good. This is a mifnei shetola bebezdin. The reason you're potter because he's acting. He's told that the reason he's doing it is because of bezdin. He wouldn't have done it otherwise. He's doing it because of bezdin. So that's case number one. Case number two. Hoyre bezdin paskins, and they blow it. And one of the members of Bezdin knows Sheto, that they blew it. Or there's a Talmud, not a member of the Bezdin, but someone was sitting in front of the Bezdin and was roy to be a dayan. And now he goes ahead. This person goes ahead. In other words, vis-a-vis another individual, it's the same halacha. He doesn't know that a member of the Bezdin knew differently. So we're speaking about that individual who knew better. This individual who knew better, he goes ahead, v'asal pihen, bein she'asu v'asa imahem, whether the rest of the Bezdin acts with him, bein she'asu v'asa achreihem, bein she'lo yasu v'asa hariseh chayiv, he's chayiv, me she'lo yitola bebezdin, right? He's chayiv because he knows better. He knows better. So the question is it's amazing, right? Yeah, it's amazing. The guys, is amazing. If he knows better, then the Chayri, he's amazing, right? The Chayri, he's amazing, yeah. So the Gemara is going to ask that, right? The Gemara is going to ask that as a kasha. In other words, you don't bring a carbon if you do amazing. How can this person do Bezdin blew it, and he's acting? Bezdin says you can eat chaylev. He knows they blew it. He eats chaylev. What's the din? You chayiv a carbon. If you know you're doing chayiv a carbon, you chayiv chorus. Okay. Anyway, zeh klal hatoila ba'atzmai. Someone who's toilet in himself without Bezdin, chayiv a carbon, but toilet bebezdin pata. So the Mishnah is, yes, we have two cases in the Mishnah, right? Case number one, where a person acts upon Bezdin, and however, he's not a majority, he's a minority. He's not a majority, he's a minority. And the second case is where a member of the Bezdin or someone who's in front of Bezdin knew otherwise, acted upon it. He's going to be chayiv because he's toilet bedas atzmai. So the heter is, if you're acting because Bezdin paskin, you're potter. Or I mean, you're potter from a carbon. Yes?
I'm just confused because he really didn't act. But Das Atzmo, he wouldn't have done it at all. His Das was that Bezdin was wrong.
Yeah.
So why is it calling him that he acted al Das Atzmo?
Again, so you're really asking the question. He's amazing. It's another way. In other words, he's acting. He knows better. In other words, he knows Bezdin's wrong. So when he did it, he's toilet b'das atzmai. But the better question is, why is he chayiv a carbon at all? He's amazing. Good, he's amazing. So we'll see in the Gemara. We'll see in the Gemara. Okay, so those are the two cases. Now the Gemara get very difficult. Amashmol la'olam ein bezdin chayavim at sheyomru lehem muter matem. In other words, what's the lashon that Bezdin uses? That will go ahead and initiate the par helen davar, that this person could be potter if it's not roiv tzibur. So amashmul la'olam ein bezdin chayavim. Bezdin would not be chayiv at sheyomru lehem mutarim atem. You have to say you're mutter. That's the lashon. That would be a hayra. Rav Dimi min adoyam no at sheyomru lehem mutarim atem lasais mutter, and you have to add lasais to do. You have to do. So there's a lashon machlokes between Shmuel and Rav Dimi. What exactly lashon does used by Bezdin, that would be considered, that gives you a heta. Mutarim or mutarim la'asais. Okay. What? Okay, so this is a question. It could be the Bezdin of 71. For Helen Dove, it could be the Bezdin of 71. Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see in the Masechta, right? I think it's the big one. Okay, says the Gemara. My timer. What's the reason you have to do the word la'asais? My timer, if you show nigmra hayra, because what? There's not a gemara there. If you don't say la'asais, there's not a gemara. Rashi says, Rav Dimi Omar, lo'ilam like nigmra hayra l'chayiv carbon. The hayra is not concluded to l'chayiv carbon. At sheyomer mutarim atem la'asais. Okay, so in other words, and we're going to bring now 3 rayas to Rav Dimi, guys. We're going to bring 3 rayas to Rav Dimi. Amar Abaya, says Abaya, afanan nami tanina. We also learned that you have to say what? Lasas. You have to say lasas. Afanan nami tanina. Raza le'iroi, if he comes back to his what? His city. Now this is speaking about the Zaken Mamre. Guys, do you remember the Zaken Mamre? Okay, what? Okay, okay, what's the Zaken Mamre? He comes, he goes ahead, he gives a psak, they bring him up to Bezdin, in front of Bezdin, doesn't say anything, he goes back home, and he gives the same psak. Is he Zaken Mamre, is Zaken that his Mamre is rebelling. So the answer is going to be, he has to say to do. So therefore, Afanalami Tanina, in order to be a Zaken Mamre, you have to say the air to do. So that's the riot Rav Dimi, that it's not enough to say mutta, it has to be what to do. So Chazru Le'er goes back to his city, Shana, and he teaches Velimed Kederach Shalim Pata. He repeats and the way he did before, that they brought him up, Potter. Hayra lasais, what's the word, guys? The key word? Lasais. Hayra lasais chayev. Hayra lasais, then what he's going to be chayev. Hayra lasais, then he's going to be chayev. Amrav Abba, says Rav Abba, afananami tinina. Also, you have to say lasais. Okay, so we know that a woman can get married. 2 Adam come and say her husband's dead, and she remarries, right? So now, Harila Bezdin Li Nase, Bezdin permitted her to go ahead and get married. The whole Kilkala, she went, and she was with a man, and the husband shows up. Chayevis b'karbon, she's chayev b'karbon. Shlayitirulah elali nase, because he only permitted her to go ahead, what? And get married. So what's the raya from here? What's the raya from here? Says Rashi. What's the raya from here? The holcha b'kilka biznus, v'achakach ba baila, chayevis b'karbon, l'fishlei hoysa toila b'bezdin, midiktani hoyra lo bezdin li nase. What does li nase mean? To do. Last size to do. Like Tani he turu bezdin. Doesn't say bezdin mated, but it said mated li nase. So shmami no like nigmar rasa that gemar din is not finished. At sheyomer mutar matam lase. It's muted to do. Sounds like a lot like Rashi to me. This Mefarish guys. Okay, so therefore a second raya, one from Zaken Mamre and one from a heter for a woman to remarry. Ravina, says Ravina, Afana Nami Tanina, a third raya, guys, too, that like to Rav Dimi that you have the last place to do. Afana Nami Tanina, Hayra Bezdin Lavar Al Achas Mikol Mitzvahs Amuris B'Torah. Hayra Bezdin Lavar. They tell you, mashma, guys, what is Lavar? Lasois, Lavar, to go ahead and do. So it's mashma, and that's the raya from our Mishnah. Hayra Bezdin Lavar Al Achas Mikol Mitzvahs Torah. Okay, and therefore says Rashi, Hayra Bezdin Lavar, the mashma Hayra Bezdin Lasois. And therefore v'sulei midi. And this garnish was tzereden. There's nothing more to talk about. That's it. There's nothing more to talk about. Okay. Ikadi Amri, Amar Shmuel, Ein Bezdin Chayavim, At Sheyomer Lehem Mutarim Atem Lasais. So according to this, Shmuel is the one who says Atem Lasais, right? In the first lashon, Shmuel said Mutarim. And Rav Dimi is the one who said muta atem lasais. In the second lashon over here, Shmuel is the one saying what atem lasais. Rav Dimi adoi ama afilu mutarim atem nigmar hayra. So over here in this lashon, guys, it's just switch Shmuel what and okay. You're going to end up saying this tomorrow. It's not so hard, right? Yeah. So far, don't be fooled. Amar Abaya says Abaya v'loy tenan hachi. He says to Rav Dimi, we didn't learn that way. Chazul Iroi Vishana, the Zaken Mamre goes back to his city. Oilimid Kederach Shalamad Potter. Hayralasas Chayev. Rav Abba Lei Tanahachi Hayra La Bezdin Li Nasei Vilach Vilka Kol Chayeves B'Karbin Shatir Le Ela Li Nasei Mashmalasles. Ravina B'Halei Tan Hachi Hayra Bezdin Lavar Alachas Mitzvah Torah Sulei Midi. So again, the Ikadiyami was we just switched on Shmuel and Rav Dimi. Okay, very good. Okay, now, so what did the Mishnah say? Bezdin Paskin V'Holach Hayachid V'Asa Shoygeg Al Pihem. Now, guys, what does that have to say with Shoygeg? V'Asa Al Pihem. Bezdin Paskins you can eat chaylev, right? So what do? You go home, you go to the local butcher, and you say, I want that 13th rib because I didn't trade it yet. No problem. You don't have to. You don't have to. The 13th rib that's the biggest shtick chaylev over there, right? I want that piece of chaylev. He eats it. L'chayra, since he had a psak from Bezdin, pata. So what do you mean b'shoigeg? It's mashma does it b'shoigeg. You hear the problem? It's mashma Bezdin Paskin, and then he ate the chaylev b'shoigeg. In other words, he didn't eat it b'mezid. He ate the chaylev b'shoigeg. So frag the Gemara, a great kasha. V'halach hayachid v'asa shoigeg al pm. V'nisni, why don't you learn v'asar al pm? Shoigeg lamali. Why do you need the shoigeg? So Amar Rava, let's see Rashi. Amar Rava, says Rashi. Right side. Tarti katani. When it says there's two cases over here. The mashma hachi, v'holach hayachid v'asa kama. It's mashma that while he went and he did it. That's b'mezid. Good. V'holach hayachid v'asa kama. Oy shoygeg, oy al pihem shoygeg. So either he did it b'shoygeg, or either, in other words, he acted upon that. He acted upon the b'mezid. Or he did the act b'shoygeg, kigoin shahayu bezdin shechelev muta v'nischalev l'chelev b'shumin. They told him chelev is muta. He has two pieces in front of him. One's kosher fat and one's treifa fat. And then for ochlu, and he eats the treifa fat. The potter. That's usually a case of that. You're going to bring a carbon. You're going to bring a carbon asham, right? No, it's asham tali if you don't know which one, but if you knew for sure. Afagav lehavi al PM mamish, even though it wasn't mamish al PM. Ushalei miskavin ka'achalei. He didn't kavanah to eat that. Guys, he wanted to eat the shuman. He didn't want to eat the chaylev. Afilu hachi hoyel ve'ilu misyadalei. If he would have known the chaylev who lehavi hodebe, he wouldn't have gone ahead and changed his mind. Shay hoyer best and shechaylev muta hilkach chaylev best and karuna be'apata. Okay, guys, outside. This is a really big chiddush. This is a really big chiddush. Bestin went ahead and paskin that chaylev is muta. So if he goes home and eats chaylev, he's off the hook, according to our Mishnah. Good. Let's say he goes home. He has two pieces in front of him. He has chaylev and he has shuman. Shuman's kosher. And now he goes ahead and eats the chaylev. His kavanah was not to eat the chaylev. His kavanah was to eat the shuman. So maybe you'll taina that has nothing to do with Horayos bezdin. Maybe it has nothing to do with Horayos bezdin because his kavanah was to eat what? So maybe what? Maybe this will be a shoygeg and it'll be toila the atzmo, and maybe he should be chayiv. Kemash malon, the Mishnah, that since if he would have known the other piece was chaylev, he would have eaten it anyway because Bezdin said it's kosher. That's not considered a shoygeg. That's not considered a shoygeg that he's chayiv a carbon. Not considered a shoygeg is chayiv a carbon. Again, one more time. Right? Huge kaddish. It's machlokes. I would say in the second case that it's second case, since his kavanah was to eat shuman, not to eat the chaylev, I would say he's chayiv a carbon. I would say he's chayiv a carbon. It's a big chiddush. As a matter of fact, there's a machlokes in the Gemara. We paskin that it's the tak has to make a carbon. That's the chiddush is that the chiddush is not right. Again, the toilet b'das. What's considered toilet b'das atzmai? What's considered that you're doing it on your own account, or you're doing it in toilet of bezdin? So if you go home and eat chaylev, because Bezdin told you could, you're off the hook. You're off the hook. That's what happened. Good. Over here, you're not eating chaylev because Bezdin taught you. You're eating chaylev because you didn't know. You didn't know. So there's a svara to say, and in fact that to say that what? That's not the case of the Mishnah. Right? That's not the case of the Mishnah. Now, the svara to say it's mutter is because it doesn't really make a difference. He would have eaten it anyway. And that's the chiddush of what? Of the Mishnah, that it's toilet b'das, that's considered toilet b'das bezdin. That's the chiddush of the Mishnah. But both mutter. What? Yeah, because again, but it's kavana. Again, the scenario is one of shaygeg. Because kavana is to eat the right one, right? That's the chiddush of the Mishnah. So now, let's see it inside. Okay, so the kasher is, what's the word v'asal piyam shoygeg lomali? Sama Rava says Rava, shoygeg comes la'asuyei hora bezdin shechelev muta v'nischalev l'chelev b'shumin. And now he goes ahead and he mixes up chelev b'shumin v'achlo potter. He's potter. That's in the word shoygeg. Al piyam means al piyam mamish, where he goes ahead and he eats mamish based upon bezdin. So again, two cases, and both are considered Tola Bestin. Okay? Vikidi Army, Amarava, Shoygeg al Pihem, Hu de Potter. Here's a Chiddush tak. Al Nischalich Chele B'Shumin, the Achloi, if it switches around, the Achloi, and he eats it, then Chayev. Then in fact, what? You would be Chayev. In fact, you would be Chayev, because what? That's not considered Das Besdin, it's considered what? Das Atzmai. It's considered Das Atzmai. Milsa the B'shita Leila Rava. This that Rava said is Pashit that you're Chayiv. Is that you're Chayiv? Kami boy Leila Rami Barchama was a question that was asked by Rami Barchama. The boy Rami Barchama, Hoyra Bezdin Shechelev Mutor, Vinischalif Le B'Shumin. And he went ahead and it gets switched up for Shumin. V'achlu and he ate it, Mahu. Amarava Tashma, Halach Yachid, the Asa Shoyg al PM. Shoyg al PM Lamali. Why do you have to say Shoygeg al PM? Just say al PM. Labla suya hara best in shchalav muta in shchalav chelav v'shumen v'achlu pata. Isn't teach me that you pata? That's considered toilet b'das bezdin. So no, don't shayga piyam the pata. Maybe dafka if they eat directly based on bezdin's psak. In other words, bezdin paskin and they ate it. Avon shchalav v'chelav v'shumen v'achlu chayiv. I could say you chayiv. So therefore, ikadi amri amarava tashma halach yachid v'asa shaygig al pihem. My love shoygig al piyam hu de pata. Dafka shoygig al piyam is pata. Av neschal v'chelav b'shumen v'achlu chayiv. Dilma oy shoygig or al piyam. Maybe no, maybe either one. Either shoygig or al piyam, which was Rava's first lashon, right? Okay, so again, the Gemara is asking. It says the lashon is v'holach hayochid v'asa shoygig al piyam. Bezdin paskin that chelav is muta. V'holach is shoygig al piyam. Why do you have to the word shoygig? Because Rav is being machadish that what? Then in fact you would be potter as well. It would be considered, even though your kavanah was not to eat the chelev. In other words, your kavanah was to eat the kosher thing, not the non-kosher thing. That's the chiddush. Kamash Mulon, that what? That's considered toilet b'das bested. Okay, so now we don't know what the din. Again, you hear the case. It's a beautiful deal, guys. The lashon shoygeg is telling me it's two cases. One shoygeg, where you mamish thought you're doing the right thing. You're shoygeg because you thought you're eating shumin and you didn't. And the other one, al PM, you acted upon bezdin. Two cases. Now we want to say it's a machloikis amaroyim. Not only amaroyim, big heavy hitters. Beplukta. It's totally in a machloikis. Hoyra bezdin shechelev muta. Bezdin blew it, and they paskin that chelev is muta. V'nischalef la chelev b'shumin, and what? And you had a switch for achlu, and he ate it. Rav Amar Pata. Rav says you Pata. That's considered toilet b'bezdin. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chayev, because it's considered toilet b'das atzmai. That's considered toilet b'das atzmai. Rashi, look at the top left. Rav Amar Pata. The toilet b'bezdin have the yachid she'asa b'roz bezdin Pata. That's straightforward. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chayev. Hoyel v'lei have al piyam mamish. Since it wasn't mamish al piyam because they didn't want to eat it, that's the svaradak. Hoyel v'lei have al piyam mamish. It wasn't mamish al piyam. Kitoyle ba'atzmeihu b'chayev. That's the svara, right? That it wasn't. He didn't want it. It had nothing to do with them. It happened to be that they let him off the hook. But okay. Meisivei. It's Meisivei the following. It says. Me ama oretz ba'asoisa. Says the pasuk, "V'nefesh acha techta b'shgaga me ama oretz ba'asoisa achas mitzvah Hashem asher lo yisayasena v'ashem." So this is the pasuk that you're being achatis, guys. So it says me ama oretz. Me ama oretz. Now we know from learning a mem usually means miktsas. May Ama Oretz, but not everyone. Who's going to be in Karban Chatas? The Ama Oretz, but May Ama Oretz, only a mixas, not everyone. Prat limumar. This excludes a mumar. Okay, now we're going to ask a question of Rabbi Yochanan, who says that Nischalef is chayev. That mumar. In other words, if a person does an aver b'shoigeg, but this guy is a rebellious guy, he's not a follower, then he's not going to bring a carbon. A carbon is brought by a person who does something b'shoigeg. A mumar, the guy is a mumar, he's denying Hashem, he's not going to bring a carbon. Mumar is not going to bring a carbon. Okay, so prat lemumar. Reb Shimon ben Yosi Omer. Reb Shimon ben Yosi says, Mishum Reb Shimon in name of Shimon. Hari Omer. There's another pasuk. The pasuk says, Ashaloi Sa'asena. Right. It says that by the Nasi. It says Bishkaga vi Ashem. So the pasuk says that what? Shkaga vi Ashem. Ayhoida elov chatasei asher chata, or it becomes known to him the chet that he did. Now, what's the lashon? Ayhoida elov chet asher chata. Hashav miyidiyasei maybe carbon al shigagasei. Loisha miyidiyasei any maybe carbon al shigagasei. Who brings the carbon? That when he finds out he did something wrong, he'll be upset. Shav, he'll do tshuva miyidiyasei from the idea he did something wrong. When most of us, all of us, not most of us, all of us, chas v'shalom, most of us, all of us, if we find out we do something wrong, we do tshuva. A mumma is not going to do tshuva. So says the Gemara, why do you have to tell me from the lashon of me'ama aretz lasaisa? I have another source. It says, hoida love chatasai shechata. So hoida means when he becomes known, he's going to go ahead and shami yidiyasai. This mumma is not going to do tshuva. So therefore, I can learn it from here. Vim Isa, guys, if it's true like Rabbi Yochanan, that what? Guys, if it's true like Rabbi Yochanan, that he thinks he's eating what? He thinks he's eating shuman, right? And he finds out what he's eating chalev. Is he going to do tshuva?
Yeah.
Like Rabbi Yochanan, is he going to do tshuva? Why not? That's said it's mutter. Guys, listen to the case. If you best in paskin chaylev muta, you went home, you had shuman and chaylev, and you wanted to eat chaylev. You wanted to eat shuman, and you ate chaylev. Says Rabbi Yochanan, that's toile b'das atzmai and yichayev. That's Rabbi Yochanan. Good. Now, had he known that he ate chaylev, would he do tshuva? No. Why not? Because Bestin told him chaylev is muta. Fred, so you see, Fred the Gemara. How could you tell me that what? That yichayev a carbon? It's not v'shav miyidiyasai. That's the kasha on Rabbi Yochanan who says what? It's chayev. That's you guys have it. Rabbi Yochanan who says what? It's chayev. Why? In other words, there's two types of shavi midiyasai. One, the guy is a mumma. He finds out he doesn't care. Another one, he finds out that he did nothing wrong. According to Rabbi Yochanan, he didn't do nothing wrong. So why are you bringing v'misa halei shavi midiyasahu? Rav Papa. But Papa comes to answer Rabbi Yochanan. Ksav Rabbi Yochanan, Kivin dechim misyada lehu lebeidina, hadrabahu. Since when it becomes known to Bezdin, when it becomes known to Bezdin, since it's going to become known to Bezdin that what that they're going to made a mistake and they're going to go ahead and correct it. Since that becomes known, v'hunami hadabei, and he also shav midiyasa karina bei. In other words, there's a difference by saying right v'chayev. No. Bezdin only brings a carbon when it's roiv the kahal, So since Bezdin would shav midiyasa would have charata, so mamela him as well. Okay.
Even if the road did it, but this guy, even if they bring a carbon, would he have to bring a carbon?
Okay, that's the Gemara. That's the Gemara. That's the Gemara on the Yom Beis, the hard Gemara. That's the very hard Gemara on the Yom Beis. You got it. You hit it. Okay, so now Rava says Yipata. Good guys, outside guys. Rava says Yipata, right? In other words, case where you mistakenly ate the chalev when you had shuman and chalev, mistakenly ate, now Yipata. Let's say there's 100 people in Kal Yisrael, right? And this guy is going to go ahead and make the majority. This guy, would he be mitzaref even you say he's pata from bringing a carbon, would he be mitzvah to all the others who went ahead and ate it al PM? In other words, so you had 49. You're holding it at 100. I'm an odd number. You're holding at 49 of 49, right? 49 of 49, and one's going to put you over the top. Good. The 48 people, they ate based upon Bezdin saying it's mutter. They don't have two things in front of them. They went home. They went and they haven't gefrest. They went and they ate. This guy, according to Rav is also pata, right? He's pata. Why? Because it's considered toilet bebezdin. Rav is moida that this guy is a little different than the other guys. It would not be considered toilet be'atzmai to make what the majority that bezdin would have to bring a carbon. Yeah. So Ama Rava says Rava moida Rav who says you pata when you have chalev and shum in front of you she'ena mashlim leroiv tzibur, that he won't be mashlim, he won't complete the tzibur to bring what the hira of bezdin, that bezdin is going to bring the carbon. My timer Amakra, the pasuk says v'nislach l'chol v'nislach l'chol ad asmnei Yisrael v'lager agar b'seicham ki l'chol am bishgaga. What is l'chol am bishgaga? Ashiyekulim bishgaga achas, until all of them are what? In the same shaygeg. Guys, they're not the same shaygeg. The 48 other guys are eating al pihem. They're eating based upon bezdin. They don't have two. They only had one. And they're what? So it's a gezeres hakosiv. Rab would say in this situation that what? Okay, we're good so far. So far, no problem. Everything's great. Everything's great. Okay. Anyway, what were the three cases? In the first case, where one, he went and did it what before bezdin. Two, he did it with bezdin. Three, he did it without bezdin. So one, he did it first. Two, right? One, he did it first. Two, he did it simultaneously. And three, he did it alone. Any one of those cases, what? You're going to go ahead, what, and be toilet b'das atzmai. Says the Gemara. Lama li lemisni. Why do you have to say bein shasa? Why do you have to tell me all those cases? So, Kohani, bishlema reisha, the reisha, loizu absu katani. Loizu, not only when he went ahead and did it first, right? Whether he did it first or whether what? He did it with them or whether he did it without of them. So it's going up in Chiddush. Loizu, zu afsu, even when he did it alone, right? In other words, I understand the pecking order in case number one. Not only where he did it, but even when Bezdin did his pata. And not only but even if he did it after Bezdin, he'd still be pata. Good. And even if he did it after Bezdin, he would still be pata. Eliseifa dilechiyuva, the last case where one of the members of the Bezdin, you're discussing one of the members of Bezdin, ipchami boile. It should be the opposite. Guys, what's case number one? He knows that Bezdin blew it, and he went ahead and he acted first. Is there a chiddush that he's chayiv? It's a much bigger chiddush to say that what he acted after Bezdin, right? So in other words, it should be the opposite, starting with what? That Bezdin did it and he did it, and still what he's going to be chayiv, correct? Even though Bezdin acted upon it. So the order makes sense like the Reisha, but we have the same order in the Seifa where the person acting, we have the same chiddush in the Seifa, that would be the opposite. So Amid Beis, says the Gemara, Zu vein sarch leim mizu katani. It's a style of Zu. You need to tell me this, and the chiddush vein sarch leim. You don't have to tell me that. Notice sometimes loizu afsu you're going up, and the vein sarch no we're going down. No, you're telling me the biggest chiddush, and you're going down. So a less chiddush, and you don't need to tell me this chiddush. Whatever the less chiddush is, you're going down. Okay. Okay, so now he's a Talmud, is Roy Lahira. Tarti Lamali. Why do you have to be a Talmud, Roy Lahira? What do you need both? Why do you need? You're telling me he's a Talmud, Roy Lahira? What's going on over here? Says the Gemara, Amarava Itzrich Salkdai Chamina Hani Mili. You know who the Talmud sitting in front of him has to be? someone who gomer, who goes ahead and knows stuff, v'savar, and he's able to go ahead what and medama milsa milsa. So gomer he's a Sinai, and medama milsa milsa. That's what I would have thought. Aval gomer, let's say he's a Sinai, but he doesn't. He's not able to medama milsa milsa. Loi. So mashmo that what? No, even one of those. When it says roy lahayra, it's mashma that what? He's roy lahayra, means both. This is what I meant to say. This is what I meant to say. Rabbi meant to say the following. Ime hahi, just from roy lahayra, havamina hani mili gama v'sava, aval gama v'sava loy, hana roy lahayra, the Mishnah Yisera, from the Mishnah Yisera, that you didn't have to say in the Mishnah, I feel gama v'sava gama. Either one. You would think initially that only one. Then you need both gama v'sava. Kamash Malon, Mishnah Yisera, that what not? Says Rashi, Mishnah Yisera. L'hachi yitzrich Mishnah Yisera. Shleilit tzarich. That's not necessary. Lashminon, I feel gama. Even if what he's a Sinai, but sava, but he's not able to be done Muslim Milsa. Ula oilam Talmud roy leira gama v'savahu. Talmud roy leira takawat is Talmud roy leira means both. But over here, the extra lashon is to teach me that over here you don't need both. Okay, roy lahayra kigoy man, for example, like who? Amarava going Shimon ben Azai b'Shimon ben Salem. Now we know they died young, so they never got smicha. So Shimon ben Azai and Shimon ben Zayim, they died young, they got smicha. So like them, that's the one who's roy lahayra in front of you. The roy lahayra that if he knows better and he goes ahead and he acts upon it, it's toilet b'das atzmai. Ki I gavna mezidhu. Read the Gemara 1 second. People of this stature, think about it. They know that chaylev is asa, and they go ahead and eat chaylev. You telling me you're going to be chayiv because chaylev is atzmai? L'chaylev should be pata because they're mezid.
You should put it on the carbon.
It says you're chayiv to be in a carbon in this case. No, it's pata over here means it's carbon's not going to help you. Right. Carbon's not going to help you, right? Carbon's going to help you. Said ki I gavna mezidhu ul taimech. They said to Abaya, Rabbi said to Abaya, had the Tanya, that we learned about in Teres Kahanim. It says ba'asaisa achas. So what is the lashon? It says v'nefesh achas techla b'shgaga me'am haaretz ba'asaisa achas mitzvos Hashem. Now what does ba'asaisa mean? Achas yochid ha'oisa mipi atzmei chayiv. It says ba'asaisa, the lashon ba'asaisa mashmi does something. Yochid ha'oisa mipi atzmei chayiv. By roa bezdin pata ketzad. Hayre bezdin shechelav muta v'noida le'echad mehem sheto. And when we find out that he made a mistake, ay talmid yoshil lefneihem v'roi lahayra. And who is that? Kigain Shimon ben Azai. I like Shimon ben Azai. Yochel yehi patar. I might think you're patar. Tamaloyim ba'asoisei achas. Right. So lashon ba'asoisei achas. What does ba'asoisei achas teach me? Yochid oisal pi atzmei chayiv by roz bezdin patar. Yochid does by himself. Asoisa by himself, he's going to be patar. He's going to be chayiv. By bezdin patar. Elahechim b'shkachas la. I heard it's amazing. Even the yoda the asa v'katoi. Says the Gemara, Kivin the Yada da Asa, the Katoi be mitzvah l'shmai derech hachamim. The Dinami Toy mitzvah derech hachamim. He says the following: Bezdin Paskins chaylev is mutter. I'm going to go ahead right and be the Zakin Mamre. I'm going to go ahead and go against Bezdin. It's a mitzvah listen to Bezdin. In other words, that makes it not amazing. That makes it not amazing. So since there's a mitzvah to listen to Bezdin, because you shouldn't be rebellious against them, right? Therefore, you're considered what? You're considered not a mazid, and therefore you're considered what? A shoygeg, because he holds it's a mitzvah to listen to Bezdin. Since he held it's a mitzvah to listen to Bezdin, you might think that he's toilet without Bezdin. Kamash Malon, it's considered because there's a kosev. Basoisei achas, the lashon basoisei achas is teaching me that what? That no, it's considered a toilet ba'atzmai, and therefore he's going to be a carbon. But it's not an amazid because he thinks it's a mitzvah to go ahead what? And listen to Bezdin. Okay? Says the Gemara Vaita. Zeh klal. The last part of the Mishnah. Zeh klal. Toilet b'atzmei chayiv, toilet b'bezdin is pata. Okay, now when you have a zeh klal, always has to be include something. So zeh klal, toilet b'das atzmei chayiv, la'asuye mai. Why does it come to include? La'asuye mavit b'hoira. That a person who goes ahead and he would rebel against the Hayra, right? He would be against. He's not going to bring a carbon. He's not going to bring a carbon. That's going to, Toilub das atzma, he brings a carbon because, right? But Mabib Bahira not. Mabib Bahira, the guy who rebels against the Ra, he's not going to bring a carbon. Toilub bezdin, a person who's toilub bezdin, lasuye hoira bezdin, v'yodu shetau, that v'chazru behem, that a case, right? And this is the next Mishnah, guys. That bezdin gives a Ra, and they know they made a mistake and they changed their mind, but the guy didn't act upon it. He acted upon it. So Bezdin paskins on Sunday morning that chaylev is mutter. By Sunday afternoon, they say Bezdin chaylev vad is asa. But he didn't hear about that, and he acted upon the original psak. So that's considered toilev Bezdin, right? Fred the Gemara ha behedya katani law. That l'chayr we learned behedya. So it's not a ton of hadim mefarish. So notice, guys, if you look for a second, look at Daf Gimel on the base. Says the Mishnah on Yadal on the base. Hoyre bezdin v'yadu sheto v'chazu behen. So bein shehevi b'karasan, bein shalevi karasan, and he acts upon them. Reb Shimon is going to say yipata. Okay, so l'chayra. So what you needed the rule in our Mishnah to teach me our cases in the first Mishnah. So what's the answer? We learned it in the Mishnah over here. V'hada mefarish, and the Mishnah then is going to go ahead and explain it. So we're learning it v'hada mefarish. My question is, okay, just I'll introduce it. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Zu divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Guys, these are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. What's the words of Rabbi Yehuda? What's the case? Where Bezdin went ahead. They paskin a chaylev is mutter. This person went ahead and ate the chaylev. Our Mishnah said that's considered toilet b'das atzmai and yipata. The Rabbanan disagree. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce it today, and we'll go into it tomorrow. Okay?
He knew that as the wrong sock.
He didn't know. No.
Just a regular guy.
Regular guy. Bezdin blows it, and he eats.
This is potter.
Chayiv. Chayiv. According to Rabban Yechayev.
When we say, in which case of.
Okay, I'm just okay. Just introduce this. Amar Shmuel. Su divrei Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda that this is toilet b'das atzmai. If you go ahead, what toilet b'das bezdin. Avol chachamim moimim yachid she'asa b'horos bezdin. A yachid that acts upon the rosh bezdin. Guys, you hear this? That the yachid bezdin paskin it's mutter, and you went ahead, what, and you ate it. You're going to be that's very shver svara, right? It's very shver svara. Okay, so we're going to bring in a brisa of Rabbi Yehuda and a brisa of the Rabbanon, but we're going to do that tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll speak out a very nice noida Rabbi Yehuda, Bez Hashem, to answer the svara what of the Chachamim. Why, if Bezdin says you could do it and you do it, why you chayav? Okay, let me just. I think we have 9. Let me go get not what.